You got Chargers Ravens for Sunday Night Football, Tyson. I hope you guys played Lamar Jackson and captain when he was 10,200 in the last show with Baltimore. He's 12K now. I don't think we're going to be able to afford him this time.
I gotta say, this game should be kind of interesting, but dude, the building really sucks so far, man. I'm having a hard time. Let's get into this. What's up, guys? Welcome to the DFS. My name is Tyson Smith, joined by Ellie Hernandez. Ellie, Ravens going into LA versus the Chargers. We've got one of our shorter Sunday night football shows. Ellie, what's going on with you, man? How are you doing, man? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was pretty good, man. I was doing all right in some of those slates, literally up until, I don't know, what was that last touchdown in the last game? I don't even remember what happened, right? But I know that I went from making a decent amount of money to, praying I would break even when the last snap went off. So,
yeah.
How'd you do, man?
I got my ass kicked pretty much, and I'm still not sure why. I think mainly my plan was to go super heavy Dallas, which I think was the right thing to do, but I just didn't get enough Green Bay. I think I was kind of dead, and I had way too much Lions running backs and Lions just in general, so that sunk me. But hey, let's recover. We got Sunday Night Football here. Ravens are -3, dude. Does that feel a little off to you? The Ravens are, trending up. They look great. Lamar is kind of like maybe even peeking into the MVP case. And then you got the Chargers, who are in complete disarray. You've got head coaches yelling at reporters.
I mean, I'm sorry. Dude comes in there 1 year coordinating a team that my wife could coach.
You got Rex Ryan absolutely roasting you on national television. It doesn't look good for the Chargers, and they're kind of banged up. This feels like a Ravens blowout win. Am I crazy? Like, what am I missing that Vegas is maybe seeing?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the ineptitude that we're going to see from the Chargers is still going to result in some points offensively. I know the Ravens have a great defense, but yeah, I think the line is where it's at. Or the spread, right? Even just because of the question marks that we have on offense, right? How much does Mark Andrews impact Ravens offense? And to be fair, like up until today, we were recording on Saturday, there were some question marks around Zay Flowers, which we'll get into, but looks like he's going to play. So again, things like that I think are going to impact the offensive outlook of the Ravens. And the Chargers do have the firepower to kind of keep this competitive, but we'll see. I think that's kind of really what we're looking at here, but 48.5 total. I think Vegas is at least leaning for Josh Allen. God damn it, Justin Herbert to throw for a little bit and keep it close.
Well, Justin Herbert has looked good. I mean, he really has. It's just one of these things that his defense is so bad they can't stop the pass. They have an okay pass rush, but now Joey Bosa's out. They can't stop anybody. So no matter what Justin Herbert and this offense does, even though they're down two of the receivers, you got Quentin Johnson, the rookie, dropping balls. No matter what they do, it doesn't seem to be enough because their defense is just giving up too many points and too many yards. And look, Baltimore's a little banged up. It's possible that maybe Odell's out, but it seems like Zay Flowers should play. And Isaiah Likely is the big question mark here. We've seen Isaiah Likely come in, fill in for Mark Andrews in the past, and he's looked pretty good. He hasn't been super consistent. He's kind of boom or bust. Can we get that from him this week? I think he's 5,600 in that range. That's a kind of a big deal. So when it comes to matchups here, obviously we've got the offense in the top 10 for the Ravens, 5th in defense. Their secondary looks good. Their pass rush looks good. Their run defense looks good. They're really good on defense. And it's one of these things that's kind of been the identity for the Ravens. And maybe not to start the year, but as we've gone through the year, they've started to reestablish that defensive-minded identity, and they've got a damn good offense too. When it comes to the Chargers, we know their offense is pretty good, or at least the ability is pretty good, but their defense is just not there, like I said. Ranked 21st, but when it comes to against the pass, this is the team to target almost every week. You got Washington Commanders, you've got the Chargers probably right there. So, Ellie, what matchups are we looking to attack this week in this particular game? Obviously, Lamar Jackson is a guy that you always want to play a lot of. But do we focus on the run game for them? Do we focus on the pass game, even though these guys are a little banged up? What weakness do we attack here this week?
Yeah, I mean, like it's just so hard to ignore the run game in the Baltimore Ravens. Like it just doesn't really matter kind of what defense they're going up against. They're going to run the ball 60-70% of the time. So it's just so hard for me to forget about Gus Edwards, right? I think you can capture all the passing game with Lamar Jackson, and I'm going to have damn near 100% of them. But I do think it is worth considering on guys like Zay Flowers. And Rashad Bateman's just an interesting one, just because like there are question marks around the health around OBJ and Zay Flowers, right, coming into this game. So do we think Devin Duvernay and Nelson Aguilar are going to step up, or maybe this is really the game where we get Rashad Bateman as wide receiver one?
Yeah, I mean that's what they were hoping he was to come into this year, realistically. But as long as Zay Flowers is out there, I'm pretty excited about that. I mean, you got to think the Chargers, I believe they could have drafted Zay Flowers over Quentin Johnson.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're regretting that now. You've got a guy who has, I think, 5 receptions over 25 yards this season in Zay Flowers, to Quentin Johnson has 1 reception over 20 yards, and that was like just a 20-yard reception. So I think we know who won that, at least in his rookie season. But look, Quentin Johnson, I think they're going to continue to feed him. Like they're 4-6. Like I still believe that they have confidence in this guy. He's just a rookie. He had a game losing almost drop last week, if you look at it that way. MVS was a lot better of a drop, so maybe Quentin Johnson's thanking MVS right now for taking some of the spotlight off of him. But Quentin Johnson's 3K. And he's on paper the number 2 wide receiver. So now if Jalen Guyton comes back, I think you got to play Jalen Guyton a lot. I think he's 2,400, I believe, something like that. We'll get more into that here in a minute. I'm sorry, we keep going off on these tangents here. So like I said, you got tight end points allowed per game. This is from Fantasy Fellowship on TikTok. Los Angeles Chargers 30th. Quarterback points allowed. Los Angeles Chargers 31st. Now you got running back points allowed. They're a little bit lower. Hey, congratulations. Only 25th. We're gonna need to stack like 3 or 4 offensive guys for the Ravens in theory, right? Like, what are your stack? What's your opinion on your stack building, and where are you going there? Is it 4-2s all day? Is this 2 4s with some Charger captains? Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, man. Like I think that might be an interesting way to do it. You might even be able to do 1-5s, right, with Keenan Allen and captain. I think we're gonna get into it here in a little bit. And call me crazy, but I think you can kind of go a little lighter on a guy like Eckler, right? So I think you really just need to make some decisions in your lineups. Are you playing Herbert or you playing Keenan Allen, right? Throw Keenan Allen and captain. Even throw Justin Herbert in a captain and run it back with 5. But yeah, to your point, man, like it's going to be hard not to stack up the Ravens offense, and it's a good game to do 4 stack with them, right? You can comfortably take Lamar, Isaiah Likely, Gus Edwards, and Justin Tucker, right? And
cover the whole damn team.
Happy with, yeah, you can be 100% happy with your Ravens exposure there.
Yeah, no, totally, dude. All right, let's talk about injuries here. So, Mark Andrews clearly done for the year. Unfortunately, opens up a big hole. You got Odell Beckham, who said he'll be game time decision for Sunday. I won't say it'll be pain free, quote Beckham said. Zay Flowers says he will play week 12. Thank God. Marlon Humphrey is questionable. He's been crushing this year. He missed last week, I believe, with the Bengals. And remember, that was a Thursday night game. That's got a little mini bye. They got Thursday night to Sunday night. They got some time off for these guys to kind of recover. So Ronnie Stanley is also questionable, but it looks like they're both back at practice. If they can get Ronnie Stanley back, their left tackle, and Marlon Humphrey, their corner, that's a huge boost for these guys as well. On the Chargers side, like I mentioned, Joey Bosa's out. He might be done with this team. We might not see him the rest of the year if they don't make the playoffs. Gerald Everett is questionable. So he missed last week. Can he come back this week? Jalen Guyton is also questionable. That's, to me, a pretty big deal because, to me, if Jalen Guyton comes back, him and Keenan Allen flip between outside and slot. So basically, wherever Keenan Allen's playing, you'll see Jalen Guyton with him either on the outside or the other side. And if he's back, we saw him his first game, I think it was week 10 in a while. He had, 16 fantasy points? So I think that he's a guy that they'll target if he comes back. If not, we're going to have to kind of figure out who's going to be benefiting the most here. So what jumps out to you, man? Like, say Flowers with a hip injury, that's probably overcomable. I mean, that's tough, but I mean, what jumps out to you with these wide receivers, man, or these injuries overall?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest area is just the Ravens wide receiver core, right? I still think I prefer Isaiah Likely, and then just Lamar Jackson is getting my exposure to that. But if Odell Beckham's out, I do think it opens up a little bit of opportunity for even Rashad Bateman. But man, I can't believe I'm going to say this on a Ravens showdown.
I know.
Nelson Aguilar, man, like at 2,200, like. He might be some of the only value I'm comfortable with at this point. And he's catching touchdowns. Like, I don't know what the fuck to say. Like, he's getting touchdowns, and that's what you need. And they're not bullshit one reception 7-yard touchdowns that we need from a $600 guy. Anyways, we're falling back into a fucking pitfall.
Dude,
right now.
wait a second. Did you see that touchdown?
Matter.
Did you see that? Did you see that touchdown though? That ricochet touchdown they had last week? That's just fucking insane, dude. That was crazy.
Yeah, man. Like, and those are the plays. Like, not only did it end up in a touchdown, if it was just a reception, he would have earned more playing time, right? But like, it ended up in a touchdown. So the coach loves that kind of play. Anyways, back over to the other side. And then yeah, for sure, the Chargers losing Bosa is huge. We all know that's going to destroy their defense even further. But I kind of hope Gerald Everett plays. I think Darryl Parham's priced up a little bit on this slate, and people are kind of shy to play him, but 4,400, like, he's not a terrible play, to capture a red zone touchdown, right? So that, and then to your point, Jalen Guyton, he's huge. Like, you got fucking baby massive wide receiver. He just doesn't know how to play in the NFL yet, right? Quentin Johnston.
Yeah.
He was able to dominate in college, but that's not what he can do in the NFL right now. They need a guy who knows how to be an NFL wide receiver. So Guyton will get a lot of run, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. All right, let's get into let's actually move over to DraftKings here, and we'll go through the salaries, and then we'll start building lineups together. Throw us a like, guys. We appreciate it. Get us to 50 likes on this video. Also, we have our Monday night show that we'll be doing for the YouTube members. So if you guys want to support the channel and you want to check out that Monday night show every week, hit join down below. That's only $3.99 a month. It helps us out. Appreciate it. All right, so Lamar Jackson's 12K, like you mentioned. Look at that. Opponent ranked 31st. Yes. Good matchup. He's missing his number one target, obviously, but with that, what was it, 12 days off that these guys have on that from that Thursday night game, I feel like they're going to game plan enough to be able to figure out a way to still beat this terrible defense. Keenan Allen, 11.2K. Dude, Keenan Allen's having one of the best years of his career, and I kind of thought he was slightly washed. Not really, but like, I didn't think he was going to be like a top 5 wide receiver in the league. I thought maybe be top 15. He'd still be, he'd still be working out, but maybe slow down. He hasn't with the coordinator change at all. I mean, he's playing that slot role. He's playing that CeeDee Lamb role. Justin Herbert, 11K. Austin Eckler, 10K. Let's start with these guys over 10K. It's like it's basically impossible to get all these guys together. There's just no way to do it. So I've been finding myself leaving Herbert out of a lot of lineups, unfortunately. I think that the clear choice here is either Herbert or Eckler. We haven't seen Eckler as involved in the pass game. When it comes to target distribution amongst positions, they're one of the lowest in the league. I think they're bottom 5 or bottom 7 as far as targets to running backs, which is surprising when you have a guy like Eckler. But to me, Eckler, you saw him running 13 miles an hour when, guys on the Dolphins are getting in the 22, 23 mile per hour range. He's looking slow, man. Maybe he was just banged up in that game. What do we do with these top 4 guys? Because I feel like these guys are kind of necessary at captain, man. All of them, right? Especially Lamar.
Yeah, man, I would love to get a bunch of Lamar at captain, but I think it's just going to be easier not to do that at all. right? I'm trying to win a showdown here, hopefully solo. Lamar Jackson's going to be 25% owned at captain. Maybe you know what I mean? Like he's just going to be so insanely owned, and in the price that he has, you don't have very many options when it comes to building, right? 25% might be the total lineups that you can possibly build with Lamar Jackson the captain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no
So,
$200
like
guy,
that's
dude. There's no $200 guys. There's no $400 guys that I'm really comfortable playing. So you're kind of screwed. Like if Guyton is
well,
active or whatever, and you get a $22 or $2,400 guy, then maybe. But it's tough to build with him at captain, dude, for sure.
and let's be realistic, man. Like if you're not putting 1,400, 1,500 plus on the table on a showdown slate, you're probably not soloing in these massive contests anyways. So again, like if you're playing Lamar Jackson a captain, that means like what the fuck else is your roster? Is it likely Tucker, another kicker, and then both defenses? You know what I mean? So you can
Yeah.
leave some salary on the table. Like you're not going to be able to do it. But I'm going to have like 90% of him in the flex.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen, like it sucks, right? But like I like playing him at captain. I think 1-5 or even 2-4 is probably gonna be the way to go with him. He's the like one of the few people and I'll talk about Eckler here in a second, but I like Keenan Allen on his own, right? Like if you're gonna naked attack, I don't know how the fuck to say that. Take a naked person from the Chargers, right? I think Keenan Allen is the way to go. I think if you're going to play Eckler, the optimal way to do that is with Herbert, right? I think like he gets there because Eckler, if he gets there, it's going to be because the fucking offensive line can't survive the Ravens, and it's Herbert scrambling around, dump off passes to Austin Eckler. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you think about it, you're like, okay, well, play Eckler, fade the quarterback potentially, play Keenan Allen with Herbert, but we're gonna have to get weird with it because, like I said, dude, all four of these guys, unless you completely punt at captain, you're just not getting all these guys together. So you got to make tough decisions. To me, gun to my head, Herbert's probably the guy because this is an incredibly tough defense to throw the ball against, and their pass rush is bomb. So. Like if they can get a decent amount of pressures on him, which they probably will, and if they can put him on the ground 4 times, it's going to be hard for him to get 250 plus yards. You have to think. Now, can he throw for a couple touchdowns? Like I don't know. I know that's the narrative. That's going to be the narrative that people are thinking going into this, and maybe Herbert's a little bit lower owned. I don't know, man. What am I crazy?
No, I don't think you're crazy. I just think that like I don't know, man. Like we're gonna build here in a second, but I think it's so hard to find a captain that we like too. You may not be able to get 3 out of the 4 here. You may only get 2 out of the 4 to be able to get a lineup that you're comfortable with too. So
yeah,
that's
because
another part we might have to discuss.
Here's the problem: is you have a lot of mid-range guys. I mean, they're still a little expensive, but you want to play them. A guy like Gus Edwards, dude, he's got 9 touchdowns in the last 5 games. He's got 5 straight games with a touchdown. Like nobody's talking about Gus Edwards. Everybody wants to talk about Keaton Mitchell. Which fine. He's an exciting player. He's 6,800. Will he see the ball? Will he see 10 touches? I don't know. He saw 8 carries last week and a couple targets. But this is one of these guys that Keaton Mitchell at 6,800, who if he gets loose on a 68-yarder, he's going to be in the optimal. If you don't have him, you're absolutely screwed. You might as well close your laptop. So while I do think you could fade a guy like Keaton Mitchell, because I think his ownership will always be slightly inflated for his floor because he's got 0 floor, but he's got 25-point upside. Zay Flowers at 8K. It's another guy that I want to get involved. Like he's the number 1 dude. He's going to be the number 1 target. He gets open. He finds ways to get open, but he's 8K. So how the hell do we play an 8K guy? How do we play an $8,600 guy? And then you got all these studs that you pretty much absolutely want to have. It's going to get weird, dude. I think ownership is going to be weirdly like 30 to 40%, like all these studs, and then you'll see Lamar Jackson in the 60 to 70% range. I don't know. I'm just kind of guessing there. What do we do with these mid-range or these second-tier price type guys? And you got Odell Beckham here at 6,200 as well.
Yeah, man. Like I just hate trying to guess the Ravens wide receivers. Look, I like Flowers maybe as a captain option. Again, he's still priced high enough though that it makes it awkward. You're still gonna have to decide between some of the top 4 studs, right? But like I'm gonna stick with Lamar. I think I prefer Gus Edwards out of all the guys in this range. He's he's just getting touchdowns, man. Like I don't know what else to say. He's damn near averaging 2 touchdowns a game the past 5 games.
Yeah.
There's no analysis that you need for that. 60 yards, 2 touchdowns, fucking play him in fantasy, right?
Yeah.
So look, man, like Zay Flowers doesn't have that upside right now. Mitchell, dude, 6,800. He's interesting. I think you could throw him in a captain lineup. I don't think you need to throw him in your flex. He's still too high priced to do anything worthwhile. But if he has a game where he has 100 rushing yards and a touchdown, then at the captain, that's fine. Outside of that, man, I'm not going to have much exposure to these guys. It's Gus Edwards or bust in this range.
You know that Justice Hill is going to score 2 touchdowns in this game. You absolutely know it. It's coming. Let's go down to the kickers. So we got a $5,400 kicker, which is, it's Justin Tucker. All right, that's fine. But yeah, Dicker the kicker at $5K. So not only are all of our studs super expensive, but now DraftKings is pricing up our kickers as well when they should be in the $4,200 to $4,400 range. They're in the $5,200 to $5,400 range. Likely at $5,200. This is a guy that I'm going to be targeting in my single entries for sure, just because of the amount of volume that we could potentially see out of him. He's in the position of the number 1 target on this team. Now, do I think that he's a 2 touchdown type guy? Do you think he's a 10 target guy? I don't think so. I think this is more realistically, 5, 6, 7 targets, 50 yards and a touchdown kind of a game for him as a normal type game. But at that price, that is a good price. Do I think he'll outscore Dicker the kicker? Probably. So he's worth considering. Everett 48, Parham 44. If Everett's in, I'm highly considering him. He's a good price. And Parham is priced up, like you said, but you're going to need a lot more than the random 1 yard goal line fade touchdown at a Parham. So the only way that I'm playing him probably is if Everett is out. Ravens defense 4,200. They always have to be in play every week. Rashad Bateman 4K. Chargers defense, not super interested in them. Of course, as I say that, this is a showdown slate. They'll have 2 pick sixes and be the highest scoring on the slate, probably. I'm rambling here. I'm going through Kelly, 3,400. Quentin Johnson, 3K. Guyton, the guy we're talking about at 2,400. The last guy I'll talk about here is Nelson Aguilar at 2,200. What are we doing with some of this value? There's even Justice Hill and Smart, who had a touchdown last week. What's your favorite value play down here?
Yeah, man, I don't fucking have a favorite. I don't like any of them, to be honest with you. But I'll be rotating Quentin Johnston, Guyton, Aguilar in, even Justin Hill. I think Stone Smart, whatever the fuck his name is, probably under 5% exposure. He's a 150 max, probably only if you're doing 20 max or anything else. You probably don't need him in your player pool. But there's just really nobody I'm all that comfortable playing this low. I think Nelson Aguilar. Here's the problem: is Nelson Aguilar is priced up, and because he had that flashy touchdown, he might get a little bit more ownership too.
Yeah,
I don't want chalky Nelson Aguilar.
No.
I don't like playing him in the first place. So, but, it's something to consider. If Jalen Guyton comes back, though, I think he's probably my favorite.
Erickson's also got to mention at $400. If Jalen Guyton's out, you could see a little bit of run from him, but it's not something I'm super excited about here. All right, let's build. Let's do our single entry. Let's do our spy or double spy, whatever, the 100 to 500 entry type single entries. Let's start with Lamar and just show everybody how impossible this is. Lamar, Keenan. I think that's a solid core to start with here. Now we got to figure out what we're going to do with Herbert or Eckler. Do you want to leave one of these guys out to start here? I don't think we can build with either of them, with Herbert or Eckler, with Jackson, right?
I don't think you can, but let's try with Eckler. Like, I think that 1,000 might help a little bit.
All right, so in that case, we got to go mid-range, so we're going to definitely go to likely. Get another kicker here. No, we're going to have to punt too much to get a kicker here. So this is what's really uncomfortable. Guyton seems to fit. He seems to fit. And then you have the Aguilar on the other side. Dude, we're playing Jalen Guyton and Nelson Aguilar in our single entry. That does not sound like a good idea at all. So that's what we're dealing with when you got Lamar at captain and you got 2 studs with him. So let's get rid of these 2 guys. Let's start kind of fresh here. Let's not play Eckler. Let's just fade Herbert and Eckler in this lineup. I know it's stupid, but like I said, the matchup favors Baltimore. So I'm rather play some more Baltimore skill player guys like Zay Flowers or Gus Edwards. Do we got to go Gus Edwards, or like I think we can choose between either? Is it Gus with no real PPR upside? You're mainly looking at 20 carries for 75 yards and maybe 2 touchdowns or 1 touchdown, or Zay Flowers who can get you 5, 6, 7 receptions for 80 yards and a touchdown. Where do we go here?
It's Gus for me, man.
All right, Gus, let's do it. 12.2, 3 spots. We're in an okay spot. Let's put Likely in, right?
Yep.
All right, Likely goes in. This is maybe a situation for Dicker the kicker, but then we're screwed. We got Justice Hill. I want to at least get to Jalen Guyton here in the last spot. That's going to be even hard to do. Let's keep going down. If Gerald Everett's in, do we play Gerald Everett here? Maybe, but it just doesn't. Nothing feels right for a single entry. Is this a Ravens defense?
Put in Guyton and see what we have left over.
Ravens defense. That feels okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Especially,
I don't like it for a Lamar Jackson captain, but it's the best lineup we've been able to build for it.
So the moral of the story is typically just play Lamar at your captain spot. I don't know if that's what you should do this week. Like maybe your single entry should be Lamar, and then maybe in GPPs you don't play him at captain and you only play him in the flex. That could be a viable strategy. You want to go Keenan Allen here? I think Keenan Allen makes things a little bit easier to build with when you save that $1,200.
Yeah, do Keenan and then just go Lamar, Gus, and Likely again. To be honest with you,
let's plug in Flowers here and see what happens. Let's plug in Flowers. Let's see if that does anything for us. So we're at 8K. So if we go kicker here, you can still get Guyton in that last spot. So you got Allen captain, Lamar, Zay, Isaiah Likely, Dicker the kicker, and Jalen Guyton. Okay, all right. That looks a lot better. Like, you know what I mean? That feels a lot better. But still, we're still fading Austin Eckler, who's a guy who can absolutely score 3 touchdowns, and we're still fading a guy like Justin Herbert, who's one of the top quarterbacks in the league. That's not ideal to me, but it's going to be how every build goes. Let's go into our tournament builds here. Let's who do you want to build? Let's build 2 lineups. Let's build 2 tournament lineups. Obviously, there's the obvious type guys. I don't think we should build with Lamar. I think we could build with Keenan Allen, but do you want to go with like a Gus Edwards or a Zay Flowers or something like that, or even Eckler here?
Let's go Gus Edwards, man.
And you love Gus Bus. I love him too.
One of my favorite captains.
Interesting, dude. I think his ownership is going to be pretty low, because you just can't play him. All right, so let's go Lamar in the flex with him. Do you want to do like a 2-4, like a Lamar Edwards dominating on the ground game, and then run back with Herbert? And maybe Allen here.
If we can do it.
There's going to be some ugliness involved, for sure. But we can get to Guyton. And then there's just a pure punt at this point. So you can play Erickson, which fits in the game script here. Fehoko, if he's active. And then just pick any of these random guys. But none of these guys are good options. Typically, you got one guy who's like, that's probably a pretty good option. I think maybe Erickson is that guy here, but he's not a great option at all. And that's only if Guyton's out. So look what I did. I completely just screwed myself here. So you're gonna have to punt in this last spot. That's weird. Instead of Herbert or instead of Allen, do you want to go Eckler here?
Yeah, that works.
1,700. So Justice Hill, smart. So if Parham is the starting guy, Everett's out, maybe Stone Smart in the last spot. So you got Gus Edwards, Lamar, Herbert, Eckler, Guyton, Smart. Feels like Guyton is like the key to me, which scares me because I don't want to bet on one guy like that. Let's try to build one with. What do you think? I want to get
Isaiah Likely.
Yes, I want to get Quentin Johnson in the flex in one of these lineups. Let's start with Isaiah Likely here. 7,800 in the captain. So let's go Lamar. You want to go Herbert and Keenan here? See if we can do it?
Yeah. And then, I mean, throwing Quentin.
Let's throw in Quentin in this one. 5K, dude.
That's
Dicker the kicker.
a decent amount.
Look at that. That's a 2-4. That's sick. It feels like to me, so for those listening on the podcast, likely captain, Lamar, Herbert, Allen, Quentin Johnston, Dicker. You could go down from Quentin Johnston to Guyton as well if you wanted to. Feels like to me, like paying down slightly at captain might be the way to go. You don't have to go all the way down to likely, but even getting to Eckler or even getting to Gus Edwards or Zay Flowers and hoping they have a ceiling type game, that's probably the way to go, because there's no way in hell I don't want to play at least Lamar and Allen or Herbert or Eckler. Like I want two of those main studs for sure, right? So do you agree with that strategy? Is that how you're going to kind of roll? I mean, we talked about maybe not playing Lamar at captain as much in tournaments. I think that's probably the safe route to go, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And just overall, kind of some of the builds that we were getting there, it felt pretty nice building heavy Ravens stacks. So, you know, just when you're hand building, like think about that. The other people entering and hand building might be feeling the same. I like that last lineup there where we kind of had the 2-4 with the Chargers come back.
Yeah.
And you know, if the Chargers are able to stay in this game, it's because of their offense. So that's probably an interesting way to build tomorrow.
Yeah, if the Charger, yeah, you're right. It turns into shootout possibility. You know, like because they're not going to stop the Ravens. And as I say that, I'm sure this will be a hit the under.
17-16 ugly game.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to specifically build. I'm going to have 100 lineups. I'm going to use SaberSim, but I'm going to specifically build based on the game script. And that I've had a lot of success with that. I'll do 20 lineups, you know, with Ravens blowout, and I'll adjust projections. I'll do all that stuff. It seems to work pretty good this year for me so far. Ellie, what do you think the final score here is, and who's your favorite low-owned guy that you think can score here?
I'm gonna go 27-21 Baltimore. Man, I don't know. This probably isn't fair, but like Gus Edwards, man, I don't think people are gonna play him just because he's too hard to pay for.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be less than 25% owned, and I think he'll have 2 touchdowns.
31-17 Ravens. Staley gets fired after this one. It's done. This team's over. And 31-17 is a lot closer than the game was. It's gonna be a blowout in my opinion, folks. All right, we'll see you guys later. We'll see you for Monday Night Football for the members and next week for Thursday Night Football. See you guys later.